Another day in the books. Happy Hump Day, y'all. What's happening? All right. Well, it's Wednesday. I think I'm gonna let a couple people get on before I start talking about anything. It usually takes a couple minutes for YouTube to inform people that I'm on. But I guess I'll wait for a minute or two and see if we can get anybody in here who wants to listen today. So I am a little early today. I've been working 8-hour shifts instead of 10-hour shifts. Things are kind of slow at our shop right now, so I can't really stay what we would call gainfully employed. And there's no sense in me spending 8 to 10 hours at work when I can do 8, go home, and then work a little overtime on Saturday. So I think that's what I'm going to do this week instead. I got burnt out. I was working Saturdays between September and until a couple of weeks ago, pretty much every weekend. Except for, of course, Christmas and New Year and stuff like that. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So it's Hump Day. I'm headed home. Yeah. Sporting my Raven Black shirt today. You guys and girls get an opportunity to check her out. The band Raven Black, they're really good. So make sure you check them out. Raven Black, ravenblackdoll.com, whatever. So anyway, my topic today is family and relationships. But as I said, I was going to wait a couple minutes and let some people come in before I start talking to absolutely no one but myself. That's usually how it ends up, unless, of course, I get, some of my regular folks in here. They want to hear me babble on. But it's a good way to, relieve stress, get it off my mind, whatever the case may be. Anyway, how's it going, viewers? So today we're talking about family and relationships. I got a pretty good doozy today. I'm not sure, well, I know none of you really know me that well, but I have kind of a strange family situation. So I was born pregnant with me from an affair with a married man 55 years ago, and he decided that he didn't want anything to do with me, and he didn't want anything to do with my mother. After he got in a bunch of trouble with whoever he was married to at that time. I don't know much about that family history because I haven't been a part of that family, and I'll get into that a little bit too. So I was born. When I came along, I didn't grow up with a father, but my mom was also, I had a best friend that didn't want me to have to go fatherless. So he decided to marry my mother while he was pregnant with me. And he adopted me, and that's where I got my last name. Now, my bloodline is Hammett, Hammett, but my last name adopted is Earhart, as you can see. It's written somewhere on my profile anyway. And so he's always been the one that I've really known as Dad, even though he really wasn't in my life much either. He was, this was during the Vietnam era, and he went overseas to Vietnam, and he was in the Army. And my mom had me in a foster home because she couldn't take care of me when I was a kid. So from, I don't know, probably 1971 to 1977, I was in a foster home. And I didn't finally get to go live with my mom until, I guess it was 77, maybe 78. And But I'd always known that there was another man. His name was Arthur, who was my biological father. Now, I was told this when I was young, but when you're young, you don't understand things like that. And I didn't understand, until I was a teenager, that I actually had two different dads. I knew that there was a guy that I had seen a few times with my mother, but didn't know his name and didn't know anything about him. And they kind of chose to part ways or whatever. But so when I was a teenager, my mom finally decided it was time that my father get to know me, my biological father. So I guess I was probably junior high school age, and I had a few conversations with him on the phone, and he was talking about being interested in starting a father-son relationship, and I would go up to Maryland and stay with him and that kind of thing, and he would stay in touch, and we'd write letters back and forth and stuff like that. But it wasn't long after I would say probably our second or third conversation that I got a letter in the mail, and apparently the family had a meeting. The meeting was all about me, and at that time, I think my younger sister was alive at that time, but I had two sisters, one named Sherry, one named Franny. Now, I just said that alive at that time. Well, Franny was a victim of a murder-suicide back in, I don't know, the early 80s, or mid 80s maybe. I don't really know, because like I said, I don't know much about the family history. So anyway, they had a meeting about me, and I received a letter in the mail, and I swear I don't remember who signed the letter, but basically it was just telling me that as a family we've decided that we can't take on any more family members, and we don't know anything about you and you don't know anything about us, and we'd rather not commit to another member of the family or another child. So that was pretty disheartening. I mean, being a teenager and always wanting to know who your biological father is, and having an opportunity like that, and then having it all stripped away because they had a family meeting about you, and then they decide that they don't want anything to do with it. But as a kid, I mean, I had so much going on as a teenager. I didn't it didn't really affect me much. I mean, I was upset because this was part of the family that I wanted to get to know, and I certainly wanted them to get to know me, but it didn't happen that way. So life went on. I moved out of my mom's house when I was 17 years old. I went to a place called Boys Town Children's Home. There was a lot of one of my other videos way back when, I talked about being in a rehab at the age of 15 and 16. It was called Highland Hospital up in Asheville. Well, actually, I went to Baton Rouge, Louisiana first, to a chemical dependency unit there. My mom thought I was addicted to drugs because, well, of course, if any of you Gen Xers know, back during the 80s, if your parents suspected that you were doing drugs or whatever, they had all this tough love and all that bullshit. So my mom decided to put me in rehab, and I went through a couple of years of that. But when I got home, I guess my mom expected miracles. She expected me just to never be a kid. So there was a lot of rough spots and spells, in the family. So anyway, I ended up leaving when I was 17 and went to live at Boys Child Children's Home. And then when I turned 18, I moved out on my own. I got a job. I was still going to school, but I was working at a convenience store on third shift at 18 years old, and trying to go to school during the day, and that didn't work out, so I ended up dropping out of school. So anyway, fast forward, 3 or 4 years, I had a girl that I was messing around with that got pregnant. Now there was a couple of relationships in between there, but I'm not going to get into those today. But there was a girl that I was messing around with that she was having some sexual identity problems, and She didn't know whether she wanted men or women, but wasn't until after she got pregnant that she decided she was going to go full-blown gay. Which, I guess if that's what she wanted out of her life, that's fine. But anyway, I had my biological father's phone number, and I called him, to let him know, hey, look, you've got a grandchild on the way, and he never really seemed too interested in it. He knew how to get in touch with me, but he chose not to. So I thought, okay, well, life goes on. So I didn't contact him. He didn't contact me for a long time. Then fast forward a few more years, and lo and behold, we have something called Facebook. Well, actually, I had a MySpace page before that, but along came Facebook, and with modern technology, it made things a lot easier. Well, I used Yahoo People Search at that time, and I found him. He lived in Prince Frederick, Maryland. Is that right? Or Prince George County, or Prince George, Maryland, maybe. It's somewhere up in the Prince area. So anyway, I decided to get in touch with him. I don't know, probably back in, I guess it was probably 2002 or 2003. And I kind of watched his page for a little while, and all of a sudden I send him this friend request. I tell him who I am and everything. He accepts it and all that good stuff. So I was able to at least reach out, on Facebook and say hello pretty much anytime I wanted. He never really told me he didn't want anything to do with me at that point or anything like that. We had a couple of conversations, basically because my mom was having a lot of health problems, and we wanted to know kind of what the family situation was on his end of the family and his bloodline, as far as, heart attacks or, blood disease or cancer or any of that kind of thing. So we actually did talk a couple of times, over the years. And then I spoke with my stepmom. His wife's name is Virginia. And I spoke with her, I don't know, I guess we must have talked probably for an hour or whatever. And then I spoke with Arthur, and, it seemed like things were going pretty good. And then I managed to speak with my older sister, and it wasn't until I spoke with her that I found out that I did have another sister that was younger, that was a victim of a murder-suicide. Extremely jealous guy, killed her, and he killed one of my cousins and her boyfriend, or his girlfriend. Wait a minute. Yeah. So he killed my sister, my younger sister, and he killed her cousin and his girlfriend, and then he killed himself. This was after a concert or something, I don't know. But anyway, so I spoke with Sherry. Her name was Sherry Dwyer, and I spoke with her, and it was kind of cool to actually be able to talk to one of my siblings and and find out what kind of family they had, and what kind of life she had, because the life that I had and the life that she explained to me that they had were like two totally different things. I grew up in the system, foster homes and children's homes and things like that. And she grew up, with a nice family that, had plenty of money and took care of them and all that. But I wanted to know more about Franny, what kind of person she was. And I could really never get any, true answers. So I reached out to Arthur a few times about it. I never got any response. I did manage to get a picture of my younger sister, Franny. And every May, I post her photo because she was born in May. So I post her photo as my Facebook page, profile photo, just to pay homage to her. Because fortunate, because I hear that she was a really wonderful person, So anyway, I would post, greeting cards and things like that to my biological father every holiday, Christmas and New Year and Thanksgiving and Easter and 4th of July and, things like that. And his birthday, of course. I really never got any kind of response. But I did some digging into the family, and I got a hold of a Jennifer Dwyer, who was my cousin, was my sister Sherry's daughter. And, we had a pretty good relationship as far as I knew, but when it came time to talk about a DNA test, I wanted to get a DNA test. Now, I did find out through Ancestry.com my bloodline, and that she was actually my sister. Her concern was if I was Arthur's son or if I was his brother's son. And I was like, well, Arthur's my dad, because that's what my mom told me, and I'm sure my mom didn't screw him and his brother, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what led me to making sure that they were part of my family. So I did manage to find another cousin, and then through Jennifer I found yet another cousin who I started talking to as well. And it wasn't until that happened that Jennifer really didn't want to talk to me anymore. Well, let me back up a minute. So I had talked to her about having Sherry do a DNA test. Sherry's my older sister, and she wasn't willing to do it. And I don't understand why. I guess she's, I don't know. From what I understand, the Hammett family, they're really close and knit and tight and all that good stuff, and real close. And I guess I just didn't fit in. I don't know, but at first she acted like she wanted to talk to me, and then all of a sudden she didn't. Of course, now I don't know if maybe my ex-wife had something to do with that, because my ex-wife, after I left, was telling everybody how abusive I was and everything, and then but I wasn't abusive at all. But she was like, well, good luck ever getting to know the Hammett family. So I don't know what she told them, and I really don't care. But I mean, these people, they saw my daily life. They saw the things I was doing in life, through Facebook. And I mean, if they were interested at all, they could have looked, and found out exactly what kind of person I am. But long story short, so anyway, like I said, I would send greeting cards on birthdays and holidays and things like that. And I would always get, a thumbs up. I never really got a response. And then I found out about a brother I have named Shane. Now, Shane's younger than I am. And I'm guessing that Shane had, no idea that I even existed, because I wrote him quite a few times. I explained to him who I was and things like that. I don't know if that was more than he could, that he could chew, maybe. But I never really got a response from him either. So with the Hammett family, it's been kind of a dead end. Now there are some small details, like Jennifer, after she found out I was talking to another cousin named Dana, she decided that she didn't want to talk to me anymore. So she dropped me as a friend on Facebook, which, was fine. But I wrote her a note, and asked her, look, I thought that, if anybody, you know me well enough now from talking to me and things, because she did talk to me for quite a while. She knew me through Facebook and knew, that I don't really want anything from them. I don't want their money. They all live, like the land that they live on. All the family lives right on the land, or at least that's what Sherry told me. I don't really hold much of what Sherry told me to heart, because she was all excited. Oh yeah, it's nice to have another brother and this and that and the other thing, but it didn't turn out that way. It was really weird. But anyway, so yeah, Jennifer decided she didn't want to talk to me anymore, so she dropped me as a friend on Facebook. And so anyway, I just continued on with Arthur, like I always had. Well, then, a few weeks ago, I decided I was going to start contacting people in the Hammett family, not really like to talk to them, but just send them friend requests and find out, like about the family and, what's been up with people and how they're related and, where they're at in the family as far as their relationship with them and, personalities and things like that. But, I've always been a family secret, and I think that that's one of the biggest things that I've had to overcome. And I guess, being that, well, I'll get into that in a minute, but I haven't really overcome it. So I found something really interesting the other day. I was on Instagram, and I was going to send it to Arthur, my biological father. And when I went to his messenger page on Facebook Messenger, he was like, the caption at the bottom said that this person was not available or something like that. I didn't have any way to contact him. So I did some digging, and I went to try and find him on my regular Facebook page, and I didn't see, when I pulled him up, he wasn't my friend anymore. So, I did a general search, tried to figure out, okay, so maybe he just accidentally dropped me. I mean, I don't know how you accidentally drop somebody. You drop them or you don't, but I thought, well, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Because, the man is 75 years old. So, I thought I'd give him the benefit of the doubt and see, if maybe he had dropped me by accident. So I couldn't find him anywhere. I've done the searches. So I have a secondary page I use. And I went to that page and I was able to pull him up. So not only did he drop me as a friend, but he blocked me too. Which, kind of, I don't know, man, that's, your biological father who you don't know, you've never had any crosswords with, you've never, I haven't been a nuisance, I don't think. I mean, I don't, I send him greeting cards and, birthday cards, stuff like that. But other than that, I don't contact him. I've never tried, other than, a couple of times in the past. But this man's got grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and I don't understand. I don't get it, how a family member, that you know nothing about, you have no qualms with, how they can just, exit you out of their life, especially when, you're really interested. Give me just a second. So, so anyway, I didn't, I haven't tried to message him or anything, but I did go to my brother, half-brother, Shane's page. Now, Shane and I share a father, but a different mother. So that's how I'm related to him. Sherry the same way, Franny the same way. So I'm guessing that when I sent out all these friend requests to all these different family members, and they started asking questions about who I was and, how Arthur might be. And I'm guessing that maybe he didn't like it, because I've always been a family secret. And, that was something that was explained to me a long time ago. Sherry didn't even know I existed until I spoke with her one time on the phone. As I said, earlier, she had no idea who I was, or that she had another brother. And that's what really stumps me, is that, at the time that her and I were talking, she seemed so interested. She was asking me about my childhood, and she asked me about, how I grew up and where I was, and, was talking about making plans to visit and all this. And then all of a sudden, well, I'm guessing my ex-wife maybe had something to do with it, but, perfect scenario for somebody to break off a relationship is, if they're pissed at you because, you're married to them and you don't want them anymore, then, you leave them, and they know that, you had a sister that was murder-suicide, and then, your ex-wife decides to call her and tell her that you're abusive. I can see where that might cause a problem. So, anyway, I did, Sherry dropped me at first, and it was like 2 or 3 years later, I wrote her an email and explained to her, look, I don't know what my ex-wife told you about me, and I really don't care, but I'm still interested in getting to know family, the Hammett family, my Hammett blood, because, chasing the open end of the rope has always been kind of a challenge for me, where it comes to family, especially because of the way I grew up. And then even when I lost my mom in 2011, I called my sister Sherry, and just to confide in her, and she hung up on me. If you can imagine how one must feel, that was a pretty good sting. I wasn't too happy with her at that point, but I was confused and I didn't understand. But I guess because, her daddy was screwing around with my hippie mother, I guess, like I said, being a family secret, and then finally, everything coming to light, was maybe a little more than she could handle too. So anyway, and then she was my friend on Facebook for a little while after that, and then I started talking about this DNA test. She didn't want no parts of that. So I guess maybe she felt like I was intruding, because I was asking her also, why don't you tell me about Franny, my younger sister, can you share more pictures with me? I'd really like to see these people as they were growing up and as I was growing up, because I didn't have any opportunities as a child or a teenager to interact with any of them except for write a letter and then getting one that the family just really wasn't interested in getting to know me or whatever. Okay, fine. I guess at that time, I didn't really understand, but at that time I really didn't care either, because I was just, like I said, I was a stupid teenage kid, and I had a lot going on in my life, and it hurt, it really did, and I was disappointed even at that point, but I thought, well, so be it. And but like I said, now that there's social media, and you can reach out to people and find the people, it's a big step. I took a big step trying to get to know these people, and I thought that things would be different, I guess, especially with them knowing that I had a desire. I've got another like half sister or something, or adopted sister. Her name is Carrie Love, and then Jennifer has a sister, and I forget her name. I'd have to look at her friends list to give you a name, but Jennifer Dwyer, I guess she's my second cousin, or well, no, she'd be my first cousin. Sherry's my half sister, so that would make her, I guess, my second cousin. I don't know. Anyway, niece. That would be it. My half niece. So anyway, there's all these people in that family that don't know me, and like I said, I don't want anything from them. All I've ever really wanted is for Arthur to admit that I'm his son, and to just be accepted. I'm not asking for them to stay in contact with me and call me on Sunday afternoons every week or anything like that. I really don't care for all that, but I'd like to know more about my family, my biological family, my blood, because up until, well, for a long time, from like with my mom and dad, my stepdad, Paul Earhart, who is my adopted dad because he married my mom while she was pregnant with me. God, this is so complicated. But anyway, so, like I said, he was in the Army and he was traveling around and things. And of course, my mom didn't really want me to be involved with him, I think. So she kept me kind of at bay, even though I knew who he was. And I had seen him, as a kid. He used to come and visit me in Virginia when I lived in a foster home there. He would come and visit me every once in a while. I'd ride on his motorcycle and this and that. But after I left Virginia, I didn't have contact with my my stepdad or my adopted dad for many years. And then when I was in grandfather home for children, back in, I don't know, I guess it was 79, 80, something like that, I went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to spend 2 weeks with my Paul Earhart, my adopted dad. And at that time we talked about, he was wanting to know if I was interested in maybe coming to live with him and things like that. And he was telling me, look, it's your decision, whatever you want to do. But I was a big step for me, even at 12 or 13 years old. I didn't know if that's really what I wanted, because I loved my mom, even though I had been taken away from my mother, and because she was practicing her addictions at the time. And it was really hard for me to make a decision to leave her, even though, because that's all I ever wanted all my life, was to live with my mom, be with my mother. And even through the first, I don't know, well, from 70, 71 to 1977, 78, when I finally did go to live with her. And then, to go through some, physical abuse for a couple of years and then be taken away by the state. And, but she was practicing her addictions and things like that. And, she neglected me. And it took me a long, long time, to forgive her for those things that she did to me when I was young. And I think at some point I finally did, because her and I had a really good relationship, when she finally did pass. Back in 2011. But it was just, I don't even remember where I was going with all this, but, I didn't find my adopted dad again until 2003 or 2004. I was working for a company that did telephone solicitations for a fundraising group that sold ads and magazines for businesses and things like that for the Missouri Peace Officers Association. And I thought, well, I'm going to look this guy up, and see if I can find him. Well, there was only two Paul Earharts listed in Missouri, and I called both numbers. The first guy was a Vietnam vet, but he didn't remember having a son. And he was much older than my dad would have been. And I didn't stay in contact with him, but my dad Earhart called me, and he was like, yeah, I am Paul and I am your dad. And we finally did arrange to get together. He came to Charlotte, and he spent like a week with me and my family. I had a family by this time, so he got to meet his grandchildren and things. And it wasn't until probably 3 or 4 months later that my stepmom Margaret, who is really my mom now, to be honest with you, since my mom has passed, she's been my ride or die mom, and I couldn't ask for a better woman. But anyway, in my life. So but that was really cool. And then fast forward a couple of years, and actually a few years, I moved here to St. Louis area, in 2010 because my marriage was on the outs, had been for years. And Paul, my adopted dad, had an extra house, and told me, look, Jimmy, if you want to come here, you can come here and live and start your life over again. And here I am, 40 years old and having to start my life all over again. When I came here, I had a bag of electrical tools, an automobile, and the clothes on my back. That's all I had when I moved here. And when I got here, I got a job, part-time job, because I went back to school, and I ended up going to school for 2 years and got an associate's degree in electrical mechanical technology. But at that time, I was an electrician. Well, I wouldn't say I wasn't a licensed electrician. I was what they call I guess a journeyman. I was on my way to being a full-blown licensed electrician. But here we are, 10 years later, and I'm not doing that anymore. So I got a 2-year degree for school for something I'm not even doing. But I mean, the degree, I guess, looks good, on paper, but it really doesn't have much to do with what I'm actually doing. But anyway, so I just thought I'd share today. I'm almost home, but I just thought I would share. See, if any of you guys had any thoughts about, what it's like to try and find, family, or make some kind of a relationship with family for so long. Just for them to, for you to be a throwaway child or whatever. I have a daughter that her and I are kind of on the outs at this point. And it's not that I don't love her and stuff. I just, the last conversation, well, it wasn't really even a conversation. She decided to tell me that, she's 29 or 30. Yeah, she's 29. 95. Well, she should be 30 this year. She just turned 30 this month. Anyway, she decided to tell me that, give me the what for, and what she said to me, I didn't find appropriate or called for at that point. And so her and I are kind of on not speaking. Well, I'm not on speaking terms with her. She tried a few times recently, and then I was in Charlotte not too awful long ago, and she tried to contact me, but I didn't go see her, because you can't just talk to people any old way you want to and then expect them to drop everything and come running back to you and everything be hunky-dory or peachy keen or whatever expression it is that people are using these days. So like I said, I just, I wanted to put this out there and get it out in the open. I really feel, I don't really know what I feel. I guess I'm a little pissed off and maybe a little hurt. Maybe I feel a little abandonment going on. At this point, in my life, I'm too old to be worried about this shit. So I'm not going to, but I felt that this would be a good way for me to vent, at least to talk about it. And yes, they're probably going to get a copy of this video. I'm going to send it to my brother, Shane. I really wish that Shane would understand that, even though him and I grew up in different homes and in different ways, he's not really my brother, he's my half brother, but I just really wish that the family would take a chance on getting to know me. I'm not a bad guy. I mean, I don't want anything from the family. I don't want money. I don't want material things. All I want is a little acceptance, and for them to acknowledge who I am. I may never get it, and that's okay too. But I'm not gonna. I've just decided. I think I'm just not gonna waste my breath on it anymore. This video will probably be the last time I'll ever mention it. But that kind of depends too on whether or not they decide to react to this video. I kind of hope maybe that somebody, the right person, will see this, because there's a lot of family members that I do want to know. There is one cousin. He's an older cousin. He's probably second or third cousin um, that I am friends with on Facebook, and he comments on my stuff. When I put things up that are interesting, and I'm grateful for him at least. But I understand when I talked to him about the other family. I mean, I had to talk to him about some heritage things, as far as ancestry goes, and he was really open with me about it. But maybe I can get into that another time. But there's been so many people that I have found through Facebook, and sent them messages or friend requests or whatever, and have gotten nothing. So I'm guessing that maybe Arthur just, I don't know if he just wanted to move on to a different chapter in his life and just forget that he has a son that's 55 years old, or that I was a son that was born out of wedlock because he was having an affair on his wife, and I was found out about by other family members, and he just couldn't deal with having to explain himself. Maybe, I mean, I don't know the reasoning. I don't know why. I didn't do anything wrong, I don't think. I mean, I was pretty religious with messages on birthdays and holidays and stuff like that, New Year. um but I'd really still got really like to get to know the family, but I'm not going to reach out to them anymore. I think I'm just going to let them reach out to me from now on. um Anyway, so it's a rainy day here in Missouri, where I'm from, and I think I'm going to go in my house and kick up my feet and relax. It's been a long day at work. I got a long week ahead of me. I'll be working Saturday this week, so I'm probably going to do a Saturday video. I'm thinking about on Saturday, when I get to work, I'm going to just set up my phone somewhere, and I'm just going to shoot video. I don't know how much I'll actually talk and things like that, but I'm going to shoot a live video from work on Saturday. How long it'll be, I don't know. It could be 30 minutes, it could be an hour, maybe 2 hours. At this point, I really don't know. So if you would do me a favor, hit the like button, because see, I got no thumbs up here at the top. That's kind of disappointing too, but that's all right. I know that it takes time to build a rapport with people. Hi there, Mako Blue. How you doing? I don't know. I guess you just messaged me. I'm not really sure, but how's it going? Like I said, if you guys didn't catch any of the beginning of this video, or any of the conversation that I've had kind of to myself or with you guys, but not actually with you guys, feel free to go back and watch the video again. I'm gonna go inside and make the adjustment so that it's not private, because for some reason, I don't know why YouTube does it, but once I stop the video on my phone, and I have to go in the house and make it public, because for some reason, I guess if for editing reasons, maybe YouTube wants to make it private until I go inside and hit the public button. So anyway, one more time, and I'm going to talk directly to the Hammett family just for a second. So Arthur, I really wish you'd take time to get to know me. All you got to do is reach out. I think you know how. I hope you know how. Shane, same to you. Whether you like it or not, I am your little brother. I'm sorry, you're my little brother. And it would kind of be nice to at least talk to you at some point, or have you respond. Sherry, I know that I know you're skeptical, and that's okay. And like I said to you before, I don't know what my ex-wife told you, and I really don't care. But and I know that there was apparently another brother or another half brother or adopted brother or something that she lost a few years ago. And I told you, Sherry, that you still had one brother left. Um, Actually two because of Shane, but you've still got an older brother. Actually, I'm younger than you, but I'm still older than him, so that would be your older brother. Um, Jennifer, I thought, I really thought that maybe I had somebody in the family, that was going to be able to help me fix my situation with them. But I'm sorry that, if I put you under stress or whatever, hopefully you can find it in your heart to maybe accept my friend request. I sent you another friend request on Facebook, so hopefully maybe you'll get it and you'll approve it. Um, let's see here. Let's say Sherry. Carrie, love, I know you don't know me, and I probably sent you a friend request too. But I am your other brother, half brother, distant brother, but I am biological. Um, by blood, I am a Hammett. Even though my name says Earhard, I am a Hammett through and through. I don't know, you guys' personality. I don't know anything about you, but hopefully you'll take the time to get to know me. Um, that's pretty much it. Dana, I appreciate you staying in contact with me, at least. Dana and I don't talk a whole lot, but I did speak with her yesterday or day before yesterday. Oh, it was yesterday because I was going to make a video, but I didn't do it. I had too much shit going on. Anyway, I'm just glad that, at least she has given me a little bit of insight. Um, but she also knows more about me than they do. She knows how I grew up. I had a phone conversation with Dana for, I don't know, probably an hour and a half or 2 hours one night. And I told her everything about how I grew up and what I went through as a child and, about my teenage years and, my jobs I had over the years and relationships, some of the bad ones and even some of the good ones. But it's nice to be able to reach out to somebody in the family, and she's relatively distant from them too because they're kind of like I said, they're a tight knit group of family, and they don't really like to let people in. I'm just asking to get my foot in the door. I'm not asking to be a full blown member of the family just yet, even though it would be nice. Um, to get to know everybody. Um, but anyway, so you guys have a good evening. I'd like to thank my two viewers who've stuck out with me through the whole conversation here. It's good to have you. If you don't mind, if you would give me a thumbs up or like or whatever it is here on YouTube, maybe even subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget, guys, check out Raven Black. She's got a new album coming out pretty soon. She's a great musician, and she's got a great band that's behind her. So make sure you go to Spotify and check out Raven Black Band. So that's my plug for the day. I don't get anything from this. Raven is just a friend of mine, and I'm sure that if she knew I was plugging her band right now, that she'd probably grinning ear to ear. But anyway, so to the Hammett family, hey, look, I'm not a bad guy. Come on now. I'm related. I'm family. I'm blood. So you guys feel free to get in touch with me. Any one of you. I don't care who it is. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me. Well, somebody there's got my phone number, I'm sure. I know Shane does. I gave Shane Hammett my phone number personally. So Shane, if you want to reach out to me, I'd be happy to talk to you anytime. All right, guys, I've been on here 50 minutes. I got to go. My recliner's waiting. You guys take it easy. We'll talk to you again another time. Peace.